He was the last of his kind, wounded, hunted, yet still charging through blood and fire. The Romans thought they'd won, until they saw the beast thundering back into the fray. This is the story of Surus, the war elephant who nearly defeated Rome. In the great tapestry of ancient wars, few stories capture the imagination like that of Hannibal Barca and his legendary campaign against Rome. Beginning in 218 BCE, Hannibal embarked on an audacious plan to bring the fight to Rome's doorstep, crossing the Alps with a diverse army, and among his most fearsome companions, a herd of war elephants. These massive creatures were more than just weapons. They were living engines of terror and awe. Yet as the years wore on, many of those elephants fell to the hardships of the campaign: harsh mountain passes, brutal skirmishes, and the relentless advance of Roman legions. The most legendary of all of them was called Surus. Ancient accounts suggest he may have stood taller and fiercer than typical African elephants, carrying scars that hinted at countless battles fought and survived. But if the legends are to be believed, who was Surus, really? Where had he come from? And how did he earn a place, not just in Hannibal's army, but in the annals of history? Unlike the bulkier African elephants Carthage had bred in North Africa, smaller and often less reliable under duress, Surus was different. He was larger, fiercer, and bore traits that suggested a nobler origin. Some later sources and historians speculate he may have been a Syrian elephant, a now extinct subspecies, brought west through trade or conquest. The name Surus itself may have meant the Syrian, a foreign warrior far from home, just like Hannibal in Italy. Some historians believe Surus was once part of the Seleucid Empire's war elephant corps, a line of elephants trained and bred for warfare in the eastern Mediterranean. As empires clashed and territories changed hands, exotic beasts like Surus became prized spoils of war or tokens in royal exchanges. It's possible he was gifted to Carthage by a rival of Rome, or bought at great cost to serve as a symbol of strength in Hannibal's grand campaign. Whatever his true origin, Surus would go on to become not just a weapon, but one of the sharpest edges of Hannibal's wrath. As one of a few elephants to have survived the journey across the Alps, Surus's first real test came at the Battle of the Trebia River in December 218 BCE. Hannibal expertly baited the Romans into crossing the icy river, weakening their formation and resolve. As they emerged cold and disoriented, Surus charged with terrifying force, breaking enemy lines and spreading chaos. The Romans suffered a crushing defeat, shaken by the might of Hannibal's elephants and troops alike. From this moment, Surus began to earn a reputation not just as a weapon, but a symbol of Hannibal's rising threat on Italian soil. Just months later, in June 217 BCE, Hannibal engineered one of the largest ambushes in military history at Lake Trasimene. Concealed by the morning fog, his forces struck the unsuspecting Romans. Surus thundered through the ranks, adding to the panic and breaking the Roman formations. Thousands of Roman soldiers perished in this devastating surprise attack. Surus's role was becoming increasingly vital, inspiring fear and rallying Carthaginian troops alike. Then came the Battle of Cannae in August 216 BCE, a battle that would echo through history as Rome's darkest hour. Hannibal's smaller force executed a masterful double envelopment, encircling the Roman legions. Surus, as part of the elephant charge, smashed into the flanks and caused utter devastation. 50,000 to 70,000 Roman soldiers were slaughtered, and Rome was left reeling. By now, Surus was not only Hannibal's most trusted war asset, but also a terrifying force, a nightmare haunting Roman soldiers. But despite these staggering victories, the war was far from over. The years that followed would test Hannibal's leadership, his army's endurance, and the fate of Surus himself. After Hannibal's crushing victory at Cannae, the war in Italy entered a grueling stalemate that would drag on for nearly 14 years. Despite his triumph, Hannibal was unable to deliver a knockout blow to Rome. The city's spirit remained unbroken, fueled by relentless determination, and the leadership of new commanders who refused to fight on his terms. Hannibal's forces, including Surus, roamed the Italian countryside, winning battles but struggling to secure lasting alliances or reinforcements. Over time, Surus, once a symbol of unstoppable power, grew older and battle-worn, carrying the weight of years of conflict. Surus and the other elephants' overwhelming power also shaped how Rome's strategy evolved. Generals like Fabius Maximus wisely avoided direct engagement with Hannibal's army. Having learned from their devastating losses in open combat, the Romans instead waged a war of attrition, harassing supply lines, cutting off resources, and slowly weakening the Carthaginian foothold. Having worn out Carthage over time, the tide was about to turn. The Roman general Scipio Africanus launched a bold and unexpected campaign deep into North Africa, bringing the war perilously close to Carthage's very gates. Though Hannibal's heart was set on crushing Rome on Italian soil, the threat to Carthage demanded his immediate return. He knew that the battle ahead would be decisive. And in 202 BCE, the two great armies finally met at the Battle of Zama, just outside Carthage. Historians debate the extent to which Surus impacted the battle, but he would surely have been a towering presence, intimidating the Romans. But Scipio had prepared carefully. He trained his troops to face war elephants, opening lanes in their formations to let the beasts pass through harmlessly, then attacking their vulnerable flanks. The battle was fierce. Elephants charged into the Roman lines, their massive form unleashing chaos and terror. Rome teetered on the brink of collapse as the elephants pressed forward. But slowly and decisively, the tide began to turn. The disciplined Roman soldiers, prepared and resolute, used precise tactics to disrupt the elephants and blunt their charge. Slowly but surely, Hannibal's forces began to falter. We cannot be certain that Surus fought at Zama, but if he did, he was likely struck down by a flurry of javelins and spears, his towering frame collapsing amid dust, blood, and the deafening clash of steel. Once a symbol of unstoppable force, his fall would undoubtedly have caused chaos among the Carthaginian lines, and when they finally broke, Hannibal's dream of conquering Rome broke with it. As the dust settled on the fields of Zama, the war that had gripped the ancient world for over a decade finally came to a close. Hannibal's campaign against Rome was over, and with it, the fate of his legendary war elephant, Surus, became shrouded in mystery. Though the great beast vanished into history's shadows, its legacy endured, a symbol of resilience and power, and a reminder that history is not just shaped by kings and generals. Hannibal's campaign left a deep scar on the Roman psyche, sowing fear and suspicion that would linger for decades. Surus, as Hannibal's foremost weapon, became more than just a war elephant. Even after the Second Punic War, the shadow of his legend continued to fuel Roman anxieties about a Carthaginian resurgence, and the rivalry between these two great powers intensified. This ever-present fear of Carthage's return hardened Rome's resolve into ruthless determination, culminating in the Third Punic War, a final, merciless conflict that ended with the total annihilation of Carthage in 146 BCE, forever erasing a once mighty empire from history. Today, Surus endures as an unlikely hero, a beast of war who shaped the fate of empires. Against all odds, this war elephant left a lasting mark on history, symbolizing courage and resilience. From ancient battles to modern tales, Surus reminds us that even the most unexpected forces can change the course of destiny. And had history unfolded even a tiny bit differently, we might indeed have recounted him as the war elephant who broke Rome.